Well, expanding on that, I think about my grandfather on my dad's side. He would repair his own equipment. I mean, you talk about MacGyver, and all those old farmers and ranchers were like that. My dad has a lot of those skills. I don't have 1/10 of the skills my dad has. He has probably half the skills his father had. And everybody knew, even in good times, to have storable food, to be prepared, to save money, because they'd gone through the Great Depression. And if we had right at 90% of the public being rural during the Great Depression and being self-sufficient, and still major universities have estimated 17 million starved to death over those 10 years. And now we have 89% being urban and only about 11% being rural. Only half of the rural are somewhat self-sufficient in national studies. If we have another meltdown depression like that, nobody's going to be able to take care of you. The government, the banks, they couldn't even help with Katrina. They can't even stop an oil leak. I mean, my God, we're talking about a road warrior situation. And I see the reports where they're laying off half the teachers in some cities, more than half the cops, half the sheriff's deputies. And the half they keep are there in the news being told they're just there to raise revenue and write tickets for the government. So, and I'm starting to see a lot of sheriffs in Texas and Pennsylvania and Ohio say, buy guns. You've got to protect yourself. So we're seeing the veneer of the civilization, the rotten paint starting to peel off.
Yeah, and you said it about in the old days, people knew how to do it themselves. You know, I own a 1994 Audi. I could buy anything that I want to buy. I don't want one of those cars. I don't need all those gadgets. You know, kick the addiction. And by the way, stop wasting your money and going to college and getting a degree in business administration. Now, this is a lot of baloney. If you're going to go to college, only do it for a skill that you can get a return on investment. That's one of the biggest rackets in this country. We talk about the military-industrial complex. We talk about big pharma, big food. It's also the college-industrial complex. This is one of the greatest scams going on in the world. I love it. Oh, my son got a scholarship. Oh, not a full scholarship, a partial scholarship. How much is it going to cost? Oh, only about $20,000 a year. Oh, it would have cost $40,000 a year. Yeah, you know what it's like? It's like going to one of these bazaars in Turkey where they give you, oh, you could buy it for this price. They'll get any dollar that they can get. You're wasting your money, sending your kid to school if they're not going to get a diploma that's going to buy them a job. Stop this nonsense and put the money to good use. And if you want to get a skill in business administration, start as an apprentice, working for somebody.
But that's the way it was done. That's the way it was done. I mean, I read about the Founding Fathers and then Andrew Jackson. They were all apprentices. That's how they got their law degree. That's how they got their professorship, is that there were a lot of people that wanted to be apprentices. They only took the people that were smart and willing to work, and that's what built this country, was the apprenticeship system.
Exactly. People are wasting. These kids are getting out of college with $50,000 in debt, and they can't get a job stocking shelves at Walmart at 1 in the morning.
I want to go to calls. Time goes so fast with Gerald Celente. Man, we could spend 10 hours with him here. I want to go to calls and ask you some other questions, but quickly. You've said some terrorist stage, some of it's provocateur. We know that's true, but you said no. 2010, Pakistan is going to start attacking. You said small attacks, but also leading to huge attacks as big as 9/11. And now we see the situation with Pakistan. Go ahead. I mean, how did you predict that?
It's so easy to see. President Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, you know, I wonder if Norway is Orwell spelled backwards. They've expanded that war in Pakistan, this brilliant AFPAC strategy. You know, these swivel chair generals and secretaries of this and that coming up with these wonderful strategies. They're going to weed out the Taliban and Al-Qaeda on the Afghan-Pakistan borders. So Pakistan is fighting this huge war there's the greatest refugee crisis since Rwanda.
They've now announced yesterday, CNN, 1,000 drones, and it says the kids piloting these by remote are allowed, in fact, print that again for me, to kill anybody they want with no evidence. They just said that they can just kill anybody who, quote, acts like a gorilla.
I know. These are called extrajudicial killings, white shoe boy languages. And it's also what it is. It's against international law. So what's happening is President Obama has already, I think it's 34 major drone strikes this year, and bi-weekly. And by the way, the CIA is behind it, and they're not supposed to be involved in these kind of things. So now here's the scenario. Your family gets killed. Your relatives are slaughtered, maimed. They've lost everything because of a huge proxy war that Washington is fighting in Pakistan. You think you want to get even? Has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda or the Taliban. Oh, it may, but there's other things. It's as old as the Old Testament. It's called revenge. And we're going to see revenge attacks. And then, Alex, they come up with this fairy tale that by waging this war, we're going to weed out the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda on these borders of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Oh, yeah, are you? How about getting rid of the Bloods and the Crips in Los Angeles? Just start there before you move around the country. They can't do that. Who in their right mind believes these fairy tales? It's the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower, that Smedley Butler, and other great Americans warned us about.
And they know.
These guys...
And they know that it's going to cause people to attack. And they want the attacks as a pretext to take our freedoms.
Exactly. So this is why we're talking about the economic collapse coming from many different directions. Because just like now, what happened? The oil spill was all over the news. It drained from the news when the Times Square bomber surfaced.
Well, you know, we've confirmed they were running a drill. That whole thing looks suspicious to me.
But again, what they'll do when there's a terrorist strike, the people will rally behind the president. Look, they did it with Bush. 92% of the people wanted to go attack Afghanistan to bring back Osama bin Laden, dead or alive. It's 9 years later. You know, what did the Iranians who quoted that? He said, he's in Washington.
Gerald, we're going to come back and take some calls and ask some quick questions and cover any other trends that you want to discuss here with us. Gerald Celente is our guest. But going out of break, I want to come back and have you answer this question briefly. When you talk about a great war, that's what governments always do when they're imploding, is they launch a big war, World War III style, as a political distraction. I mean, is that what you're basically saying is coming?
We're saying World War III is on the way. The riots in Greece will spread across Europe, will spread east into Ukraine, into Latvia, Estonia. The world is going to be on fire